Children, it is a daily practice questions of chemistry for day 2. Daily practice questions of chemistry for day 2. Now you take the 6th question of the question paper, that is the B part B chemistry. 6th question. 4 alternatives are given for each of the following questions. Choose the correct alternative and write the complete answer along with its letter of alphabet. 3 questions are there, each carries 1 marks. So that is the 14th question. If hydrocarbon burns with a clear blue flame in presence of excess oxygen, then the products formed are. So it becomes the complete combustion. In the complete combustion, the products are carbon dioxide and water vapor. Here the 4 options are carbon monoxide and water vapor, carbon particles and carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and water vapor. So what is the answer here? The answer is D, carbon dioxide and water vapor. So you write the answer. If hydrocarbon burns with a clear blue flame in presence of excess oxygen, the products formed are carbon dioxide and water vapor. Next you go to the 15th question. Which of these does not release H plus ions when added to water? Here you know that acid gives H plus ions when water is added. Here hydrochloric acid, it gives H plus ion, and HCOOH, it is a formic acid which gives hydrogen ion, and CH3COOH, it is a acetic acid which gives H plus ion, and CH3OH, it is an alcohol, it gives OH ion. So here the answer which does not release H plus ion, so you must write the answer, that D. Answer D, that is CH3OH does not give H plus ions when added to water. Write the option D as the answer, that is CH3OH. CH3OH is the answer. Next, 16th question. The type of bond that formed between chlorine and potassium is covalent bond, ionic bond, metallic bond, hydrogen bond. Here the bond formed is ionic bond. Here receiver and donors are there. Potassium loses electron and chlorine gains the electron, and positive and negative ion forms to form the ionic bond. So the bond formed is ionic bond. Write the answer, ionic bond. Now the 7th question. Answer the following questions. 1 marks questions, 3 questions are there. That is also objective type question. 17th question. The metals towards the top of the activity series cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon. Why? The metals towards the top of the activity series cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon. The metals high up in the reactivity series are very reactive. They cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon. You can take the example of the carbon cannot reduce the oxides of sodium, magnesium, calcium, aluminium, etc. to the respective metals, because these metals have more affinity for oxygen than carbon. So you write the answer that the metals towards the top of the activity series cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon, because these metals are highly reactive and have more affinity for oxygen than carbon. So they cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon. Now the question number 18. Name the 2 important air pollutants released during combustion of coal and petroleum. Coal and petroleum have been formed by biomass, In addition to carbon, these contain hydrogen, nitrogen and sulfur. When these are burnt, the products are carbon dioxide, water, oxides of nitrogen and oxides of sulfur. When combustion takes place in insufficient air, then carbon monoxide is formed instead of carbon dioxide. Of these products, the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen and carbon monoxide are poisonous at high concentration, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It leads to global warming. So let us write. So write that the two important air pollutants released during combustion of coal and petroleum are, you can write carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide. Carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide. Now the 19th question. The atomic number of element X is 7. Then the element X belongs to which period in the modern periodic table? In the modern periodic table, elements were arranged according to the increasing order of their atomic number. In the modern periodic table, elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic number. Means modern periodic table is based on the electronic configuration of elements. On the base of electronic configuration, first shell means first period. The first period is having only one shell, and the second period is having two shells. So in the second shell, electrons start to fill from lithium to get 8 electrons up to neon. So 8 electrons up to neon means it is having 7 electrons. So as it is having two shells, it must be in the second period of the modern periodic table. So you write that element X with atomic number 7 is having two shells K and L. In the bracket you can write with electronic configuration 2, 5. Therefore the element X belongs to second period in the modern periodic table. As it is having two shells, it must belongs to the second period in the modern periodic table. Now the next question. Answer the following questions. These are 2 marks questions. How many questions are there? 3 questions are there. The first question, 20th question is, what is combustion? Write the balanced chemical equation of combustion of methane. And it is a choice question. And what is the choice question? Draw the structure for the following compounds, propanol and propyne. Now let us answer the first question. What is combustion? Write the balanced chemical equation of combustion of methane. Combustion is a chemical reaction. What is combustion? Combustion is the burning of compounds in air to give carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of heat and light. Combustion is a chemical reaction. It is a burning of compounds in air to give carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of heat and light. So let us write that the combustion is the burning of compounds in air to give carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of heat and light. Now the balanced chemical equation of combustion of methane. What is the molecular formula of methane? Molecular formula of methane is CH4, and molecular formula of oxygen is O2. CH4 plus O2 gives CO2 plus H2O. So here you write the combustion of methane. CH4, it is a gas. Methane reacts with CH4 is the molecular formula of methane. It reacts with oxygen to give carbon dioxide and water. Here CH4 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O. together with the liberation of energy, that is in the form of heat and light. It is a balanced chemical equation of the combustion of methane. So you write down CH4, its physical state is gas, and 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O plus heat and light. Next, draw the structures of the following compounds. That is a choice question. Propanone and propyne. Structure of propanone. Propanone, it is a ketone. It is a ketone. So you can take that meth, eth, prop. So here the functional group is this one. Then you can have H, H, H. So it becomes CH3. Here it is already 2 plus 2, 4 it becomes. Then here H, H, H. It is a structure of propanone. The molecular formula of propanone is CH3COCH3, and it is a structure. It is the structure of the propanone. Here see CO is there, CO with a double bond, and this is CH3, this is CH3. That is the ketonic functional group, and it is a acetone. Next you take propyne. Propyne is the alkyne. So you can say that. So we write the structure of propyne. Structure. So C3 methith prop, that is C, 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 and if you write here C3H4, it is a propyne, it is an alkyne with a triple bond. So you write triple bond here and write 1H. So here 4 bond around 1 carbon atom, and here there are 4 bond around this carbon atom, and here you need 3 bonds, single bonds with this hydrogen carbon, that is this one. So you got that C3H4. C3H4, it is a triple bond where it is an alkyne unsaturated hydrocarbon, and CH3 is there, here CH is there. So it is the structure of the propyne. Structure of the propyne. And also you can write meth, eth, prop. The triple bond can be in between these two, first and second, or second and third you can have. Here if here triple bond, this carbon atom is having only one hydrogen atom, and this carbon got all 4 covalent bond around it, but this one is having only 1, so you need 3. Then you write H, H. Now the question number 21. Give scientific reasons. 2 questions are there, A and B. Question A is, when acid rain flows into the rivers, the survival of aquatic life becomes difficult. And the B question is, toothpastes are used for cleaning the teeth. So first let us discuss about the answer to the question A. Our body works within the pH range of 7 to 7.8. All living organisms can survive only in a narrow range of pH change. When pH of rainwater is less than 5.6, it is called acid rain. When acid rain flows into the rivers, it lowers the pH of the river water. So the survival of aquatic life in such rivers becomes difficult. So let us write What is the answer to this question? So you write that living organism can survive only in a narrow range of pH change. When acid rain flows into the rivers, it lowers the pH of the river water and the survival of aquatic life becomes difficult as their body not works. Next, question B. Toothpastes are used for cleaning the teeth. You know about the tooth decay. Tooth decay starts when the pH of the mouth is lower than 5.5. Tooth enamel made up of calcium hydroxyapatite, that is a crystalline form of calcium phosphate, that is the hardest substance in the body. It does not dissolve in the water, but it is corroded when the pH in the mouth is below 5.5. Bacteria present in the mouth produce acids by degradation of sugar and food particles remaining in the mouth after eating. So the best way to prevent this to clean the mouth after eating food using toothpaste. Using toothpaste which are generally basic. Toothpastes are generally basic for cleaning the teeth. If you use the toothpaste, the base neutralizes the excess acid and prevent tooth decay. So you write that food particles in the mouth are converted into acid by the bacteria. Toothpaste is basic in nature and neutralize the excess acid in the mouth and prevent tooth decay. Therefore, toothpastes are used for cleaning the teeth. So you write that food particles present in the mouth are converted into acids by the bacteria. Toothpaste is basic in nature and neutralize the excess acid in the mouth and prevent tooth decay. Therefore, toothpastes are used for cleaning the teeth. Next, question number 22nd. Draw a diagram showing acid solution in water conducts electricity and label bulb. So what is that question? Draw a diagram showing acid solution in water conducts electricity and label bulb. So children, draw this diagram. Here what you have to label? We have to label bulb. So bulb is here. Children, you take 100 ml beaker, fix 2 nails on a cork. Fix 2 nails on a cork and place the cork in a 100 ml beaker. Connect the nails to the two terminals. Connect the nails to the two terminals of the battery, that is a 6-volt battery. Connect the nails to the two terminals of a 6-volt battery through a bulb and a switch. Now pour dilute HCl in the beaker and switch on the current. Repeat with other dilute sulfuric acid also. Repeat the experiment separately with dilute sulfuric acid also and observe the bulb. The bulb will start glowing in the case of acids. If you pour the acids HCl or H2SO4, the bulb glows. So glowing of the bulb indicates that there is a flow of electric current through the solution. The electric current is carried through the acid solution by the ions H plus and Cl minus ions or H plus SO4 ions in the case of H2SO4. Children, in this question only diagram is asked. Here we have to draw a diagram showing acid solution in water conducts electricity and label bulb. Only you draw the diagram and label the bulb. Now the ninth main question, that is the 23rd question. The atomic numbers of the 5 elements A, B, C, D and E are 6, 8, 3, 7 and 9 respectively. That is, atomic number of A is 6, B is 8, C is 3 and D is 7 and E is 9. And what you have to answer here? The metallic property of which of these element is less and why? And what is your conclusion on the relationship between metallic property and electronegativity? It is also choice question. What is the choice question? What were the criteria used by Mendeleev in creating his periodic table? B. What are the achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table? Now let us answer the first part, that is, use the given elements with the given atomic number and let us discuss about the metallic property. Before that, you go through the periodic table. Children, before writing the answer, let us discuss about the periodic table. So children, observe the periodic table. Here these are metals and these are non-metals and these are metalloids, and the metals are found on the left side of the periodic table and non-metals are found on the right side of the periodic table, and this zigzag line separates the metals from the non-metals, and these are boron, silicon, gallium, arsenic, tellurium, polonium. These are the metalloids. They are the metalloids. Their metallic property lies between the metals and non-metals. They are also called semi-metals or semiconductors. So here you take the question. So these are the elements, and atomic number 6, it is here, 8 that is here, and C that is 3, and D 7 is here, and E is 9, that is fluorine here. Here the name of the elements are not given, but as the atomic number are given means they are having the fixed name here. So here what you have to find out? We have to find the element with less metallic property. So as you move towards right, the metallic property goes on decreases. Why it goes on decreases? Because the electronegativity goes on increases. Electropositivity goes on decreases. Electronegativity goes on increases. Here you can observe that metals are on the left side and non-metals are on the right side. As the effective nuclear charge acting on the valence shell electron increase across a period, the tendency to lose electron will decrease. Means electropositive nature goes on decreases from left to right. And down the group, the effective nuclear charge experienced by valence electron is decreasing because the outermost electrons are farther away from the nucleus. These valence electron can be lost easily. So the metallic character decreases across a period and increases down a group. Here down a group it goes on increases, across a period it goes on decreases. So the metallic character decreases across a period and increases down a group. So you can say that here the element E with atomic number 9 is having least metallic character. So the metallic property of the element E with atomic number 9 is less here. That you can write the answer. So children, write the answer in this manner. Here you write the given elements with given atomic number. So you write A, B, C, D, E with atomic number 6, 8, 3, 7, 9. So you write that here the elements are A, B, C, D, E with atomic number 6, 8, 3, 7, 9. And you arrange the element according to their atomic number. Arranging according to their atomic number. So these are the elements. So first C, that is with atomic number 3, and second A, that is with atomic number 6, next D, that is with atomic number 7, next B, atomic number 8, next E with atomic number 9. So you know that all these are having two shells, K shell and L shell. So electronic configuration of the element C with atomic number 3 is 2, 1. And the electronic configuration of atomic number 6, element with atomic number 6 is 2, 4. And the electronic configuration of element D with atomic number 7 is 2, 5. And the electronic configuration of element B with atomic number 8 is 2, 6. And electronic configuration of element E with atomic number 9 is 2, 7. So here the electronic configuration are 2, 1, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7. All are having two shells, so they are the second period elements. So all the elements, you write that all the elements are having two shells K and L, and they are second period elements. So you write that all the elements are having two shells K and L, and they are second period elements. The metallic property of element E is less. Metallic property of element E is less because what you write? Tendency to lose the electron will decrease across a period. Because what you write? Because the tendency to lose the electron will decrease across a period. Hence the metallic character decrease across a period. Hence the metallic character decreases across a period. So the element, which element? The element E is having least metallic property. Next question here. What is the conclusion on the relationship between metallic property and electronegativity? So electronegativity means the property of gaining an electron. So as the electronegativity increases, metallic property decreases. Here elements having a property of gaining the electron. They are the electronegative elements. As the electronegativity increases, metallic property decreases. Therefore, the metals are found on the left hand side of the periodic table. So you write that as the electronegativity, that is gaining electron, increases, metallic property decreases. Therefore, metals are found on the left hand side of the periodic table. Therefore, metals are found on the left hand side of the periodic table. That is the relationship between metallic property and electronegativity. As the electronegativity increases, metallic property decreases. That is the answer for the question. Next, what were the criteria used by Mendeleev in creating his periodic table? And sub question one more. What are the achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table? So let us write the answer. So you write that criteria used by Mendeleev in creating his periodic table. Mendeleev used the periodic law. What is the periodic law? The physical and chemical properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic masses. The physical and chemical properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic masses. This is the law used by Mendeleev to create his periodic table. And how he has created? He found that if all the 63 elements known at that time were arranged in increasing order of their atomic masses. He found that if all the 63 elements known at that time were arranged in increasing order of their atomic masses, the properties of elements and also the formula of compound like oxides, hydrides, etc. found by these elements gradually change from element to element, and at certain interval they suddenly started almost repeating. He arranged the elements in rows and columns in increasing order of their atomic masses. So you write that he found that if all the 63 elements known at that time were arranged in increasing order of their atomic masses, the properties of the elements and also formula of compounds like oxides, hydrides, etc. found by these elements gradually changed from element to element, and at certain interval they suddenly started almost repeating. He arranged the elements in rows and columns in the increasing order of their atomic masses. So these are the criteria used by Mendeleev in creating his periodic table. Write the achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table. The first one is elements were grouped on a more fundamental basis than earlier attempts. Elements were grouped on a more fundamental basis than earlier attempts. That is the first achievement. Elements were grouped on a more fundamental basis than earlier attempts. Second, because of their placements in the periodic table, properties of several yet to be discovered elements like scandium, gallium and germanium could be predicted. So you write the second one. Because of their placements in the periodic table, properties of several yet to be discovered elements like scandium, gallium and germanium could be predicted. And the next third achievement is Mendeleev gave more weightage to the properties of elements rather than atomic masses. Mendeleev gave more weightage to the properties of elements rather than atomic masses. Mendeleev gave more weightage to the properties of elements rather than atomic masses. So atomic masses of some elements like gold, platinum got corrected. Atomic masses of some elements like gold, platinum got corrected. That is also one of the important achievement of the Mendeleev. Next, fourth one is the discovery of new elements, inert gases, did not disturb the arrangement and they found their places as a new group. The discovery of new elements and inert gases did not disturb the arrangement. They found their places as a new group. That is the fourth achievement. Next, fifth one is gaps for 40 new elements were kept. Gaps for 40 new elements were kept. These are the achievements of the Mendeleev's periodic table. Next, 24th question. Differentiate between saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. Write the differences between saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. So here let us make two columns. One is for the saturated hydrocarbon and the other is for the unsaturated hydrocarbon. So first one you write about the saturated hydrocarbon. So what you can write about the saturated hydrocarbons? In saturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 4 other atoms. So what you can write? In saturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 4 other atoms. And what about the unsaturated hydrocarbon? Then you write about the unsaturated hydrocarbon. In unsaturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 2 or 3 atoms. 2 or 3 other atoms. In unsaturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom in unsaturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 2 other atoms or 3 other atoms. 2 other atoms or 3 other atoms. Next, second difference. What is that second difference? Saturated hydrocarbons containing only single bonds in their molecules. Saturated hydrocarbons containing only single bonds in their molecules. Saturated hydrocarbons are containing only single bonds. Then unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbon containing either a carbon-carbon double bond, that is C double bond C, or a carbon-carbon triple bond, C triple bond C, in their molecule. So what about the unsaturated hydrocarbon? Unsaturated hydrocarbons containing either carbon-carbon double bond, C double bond C, or carbon-carbon triple bond, C triple bond C, in their molecule. So saturated hydrocarbons containing only single bonds. Unsaturated hydrocarbons are containing either double bond or triple bond. Next, about the combustion. Saturated hydrocarbon burn with blue flame. Saturated hydrocarbon burn with the blue flame. Then what about unsaturated hydrocarbon? Unsaturated hydrocarbon burn with yellow flame with lots of smoke. Unsaturated hydrocarbon burn with the yellow flame with the lots of black smoke. These are the differences between the saturated hydrocarbon and unsaturated hydrocarbon. So in saturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 4 other atoms. In unsaturated hydrocarbon, each carbon atom is attached to 2 or 3 other atoms. Saturated hydrocarbons containing only single bonds. Unsaturated hydrocarbons containing either double bond or triple bond. Saturated hydrocarbon burn with the blue flame. Unsaturated hydrocarbon burn with yellow flame with lots of black smoke. This is about the difference. Then the 25th question. Draw a diagram to show testing the conductivity of a salt solution and label the following parts: graphite rod, salt solution under test. So let us have the diagram. Children, write the diagram to show testing the conductivity of a salt solution and label the following parts. Which are the parts that you have to label? Graphite rod. These two are the graphite rods. Here you label the graphite rods and salt solution under test. Here is a graphite rod. This is a graphite rod and this is a salt solution under test. So make a circuit as shown in the figure and insert the electrodes. These two are the electrodes into the solution of the salt which is to be tested. And what you will observe here, you can observe that this salt solution conduct electricity. This can be observed in the glowing of bulb. Here, when the switch is on, electric current passes through the electrodes and passes through the solution, and the circuit completes. Circuit completed means here this salt solution allows the current to pass through it. It conducts electricity and makes the bulb to glow. In this way it is clear that salt solution conduct electricity. Next, 10th question. Answer the following questions, and it is 4 marks question. Only one question is there, and here the 4 sub questions are there, A, B, C and D. And name any 2 soft metals. How are basic oxides formed? Define galvanization. How do alkalis are formed? So first one, name any 2 soft metals. So you can give the name of the 2 soft metals. One is sodium and the other one is potassium. Sodium, potassium are the 2 examples of soft metals. Then how are basic oxides formed? When metals reacts with oxygen of air and give basic oxides. So here metals react with oxygen of air and give basic oxide. Take one example. Sodium reacts with sodium Na reacts with oxygen to give sodium oxide Na2O. This is one of the example of formation of the basic oxide. Metal reacts with oxygen to give basic oxides. Next, what is galvanization? Then what is galvanization? Galvanization is a process of protecting steel and iron from rusting by coating them with a thin layer of zinc. Then what is galvanization? Galvanization is a process of protecting steel and iron from rusting by coating them with a thin layer of zinc. The last question, D. How do alkalis are formed? So some basic oxides means metal oxides dissolve in water to form alkalis. How will you get alkali? When basic oxides, metal oxides dissolve in water to form alkalis. So you take the example here, Na2O, sodium oxide dissolves in water to give sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is alkali. So that is the method of getting the alkali. When some basic oxides, all basic oxides are not dissolving in water. Some basic oxides are dissolving in water. Some basic oxides dissolve in water to form alkalis. So the example is when sodium oxide Na2O reacts with or dissolves in water. Dissolves in water to give sodium hydroxide. That is a alkali. So here you got the answer for all the 4 questions. 2 soft metals, sodium and potassium. And how are basic oxides forms? Metals reacts with oxygen to form basic oxides. One example we have taken here. Galvanization. Galvanization is a process of protecting steel and iron from rusting by coating them with thin layer of zinc. And basic oxides reacts with water to form alkalis. So how will you get alkalis? Basic oxides dissolves in water to form alkalis. Example we have taken, sodium oxide dissolves in water to give sodium hydroxide, which is an alkali.